All right, welcome to Mulls on Mission. We are doing something a little different for the next few weeks. We're doing a little series where my friend Nathan is going to be interviewing myself and Anna and just asking us the questions that he thinks someone would want to know that we probably haven't even thought to share with people who are kind of following us in our journey. So, yeah. So
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to learn more.
We're very glad you're here.
Yes.
So the first episode, this episode, will be with me, and the next episode will be with Anna. So.
Okay, so I've heard that we start with a silly question here.
Yes, I normally start off with just a dumb, silly, mostly pointless.
Perfect.
But potentially there'd be something to be gleaned about us.
I am so excited.
So, Nathan, you get to be the recipient of my question this week.
Good. Does it have to be a silly answer?
Depending on the silliness of the question.
Okay.
I mean, some of them, it's like, there's some genuineness to the question, even though it's mostly silly.
Yeah.
So, my question for us is, Nathan, what is the best meal you've ever had? Now, that is not necessarily just the flavor of the food. It can also be the experience or the location or take into account all the factors that make it your favorite. Okay, go for it.
Okay.
It's the Brazilian steakhouse you had yesterday.
No. I have two answers. My first answer, if you're talking about just meal with no other experiences added, it is going to be either chicken or beef with some rice and with fried plantains.
Nathan, you would be a great missionary. We just need to send you to South America.
I know, very basic, but it's not the chicken and rice; it's the plantains. Just anything.
You're talking like the caramelized, they're gooey.
A little bit crispy on the outside.
Yeah, so you let the plantain brown a little bit and get sweet, and then you chop it up and fry it in oil.
Oh, it's so good. That with some meat and with some rice. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not too picky on the meat, but I usually like either chicken or beef. It's so good.
Well, I mean, so Anna still has one sister who's eligible, who you might be able to get in with, and then you could attend our family Cuban Christmases every year, where that's basically the meal, and I just have a huge plate of fried plantains.
That, definitely. But the actual most memorable, what did you say? The experience of it?
Yeah, experience.
I was hiking in North Carolina.
Oh.
And it had been a long hike. We had gotten lost a few times.
Okay.
We finally got to our location, and we just fell asleep. And I was tired, I was hungry, I was thirsty, and the next morning when I woke up, it was cold.
Okay.
Were
you guys camping or at a cabin or what?
No, so we were camping. We were actually at the edge of a 500 foot drop.
Okay. Is this the place where you said during the night your tent kept sliding?
Yeah, exactly. So
closer
it was just
to the
terrifying.
edge.
It was not fun. And so I was just looking back, it was very exciting, but I was just very filled with fear. But it was that morning, a person who came with us made some apple cinnamon oatmeal.
Ooh.
Just from the Quaker Oat package.
Okay, so the instant oat package.
Yeah, instant oat package, but it was literally the best. I just ate it, and I just immediately
your
felt
body
warm
was just
inside.
Nutrients. Give me nutrients.
This is just what I needed. It was 40 degrees and it was chilly. We're on the top of a cliff, so it's 20, 30 mile an hour winds.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there huddling and just eating. It was the best. It was the best meal ever. I still compare the experience of eating meals to that.
Nice.
Just to that one Quaker Oats apple cinnamon oatmeal.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Mine would be. It is hard. It is hard to think.
Yeah.
Because I've had some pretty.
You've had some pretty interesting meals.
Pretty interesting meals.
Going to Africa and South America.
I am gonna throw out. So on that Panama trip I took.
Okay.
Is the second to last day, and Connie, who had invited us, she found out along the trip how much I love pancakes because I really really enjoy me a pancake.
Yes, he does.
So we're a week and a half on a trail. Like there's nothing really around.
Yeah.
And she managed to find some flour and some other ingredients, and she made me a pancake.
Oh my goodness.
And it was honestly really delicious.
It really is. Again, it probably was really delicious, and my oatmeal probably was, I don't know, decent. But I think that experience of being at a place where you're not expecting it, and just the happiness
and you just
have
that comfort of home.
I know.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of nowhere, and yeah.
So that was a pretty good meal in a pretty spectacular location with some extremely amazing people.
Very cool. So, people thought I was okay, but I'm glad that you had.
You mean your family?
Sorry, Dad.
I don't think he listens to this anyway, so you're probably good. Oh man! All right, and now we'll get on to the interview.
Ooh.
All right, Nathan. So you have some questions prepared?
I do. So I was again told to ask some questions about just learning about like what do you want to do in missions? Why are you going on this? And and the question that I had was why choose missions over every other job that you could do any job you wanted.
Okay.
Which I know you could probably be successful at a lot of other jobs, and I know you thought through it, but why pick missions? Why pick going out and doing something crazy overseas?
Okay, and I mean we're saying missions in the Western sense.
That's a good distinction.
You get sent to another country to bring your specific interpretation and perspective of the gospel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm actually thinking more 30,000 foot view. Okay. Just why would you choose a field where you, instead of going out and making money,
okay.
you are choosing to.
So instead of just career path.
Yeah, just career path. Why are you choosing to go off and again, obviously you need the support of other people.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to you? What about this career is better to you than any other career?
That is a good question. And as far as it in a career sense, I don't know that it's better.
Yeah,
because
obviously, as opposed to making no money, as opposed
to man, so there's so many factors that go into that kind of question.
I know.
I mean, I'll start with one of the reasons that I think a lot of people end up doing Christian missions, which is we want to travel. I want to be someone who, I want to experience other parts of the world, other cultures, and not just in a touristy, get a snapshot.
I was there for 2 days.
Yeah, feel like, oh, I know what it's like in this place or that place. But I want it because of how much I've already seen it change me and grow me in just broadening my perspective, realizing, okay, there are other very legitimate ways of just viewing the world and approaching life that really come with the culture you're a part of.
Got you.
And that's something that one can cognitively think through.
Yeah.
South America, they do siesta time where you get 2 hours in the afternoon, and it's oh, wouldn't that be great here?
I want that every day.
Yeah. It's we can think, oh, how cool is that feature? But then you actually go and live in a place where they do that, and you see, okay, it affects a lot more than just people having a break in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Your outlook on time changes.
Completely different.
Because you're not built around efficiency.
Yeah.
You're not built around, we need to have all these things done in this amount of time.
And these are a lot of things that are built into the culture and not necessarily just said out loud. It's just understood by the culture.
Yes.
Whereas you going in, it's, this is different.
Like, Nathan, if you say, my birthday party is at 12, what time do you expect people to get there?
12 o'clock. Or I actually
sharp, or are you good with some margin?
I'm good with I'm good with like if someone comes 5 minutes early, I'm good with that. And if some people come like 20 minutes late, I'll forgive them.
So there's your margin right there. 5 early to 20 late.
Yeah.
So like when I got invited places when I was in Ecuador, I would show up there like 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
And I'd wait for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
For like the whole group to show up at once. They're like going to each other's house, picking each other up on the way. And it's like they're all walking because it's a small town, but they're so prioritizing community in a way that I still, my soul has not quite connected with.
That's just not,
But I know spending time in a place will affect you. It gives your like whole person the ability to transition to another way of life. Yeah. And I want to have those experiences. One, so that like one for my own sake, just because I want to learn and grow from those experiences in the ways that I have seen other people who have lived overseas in multiple locations changed and shaped by those experiences. So that's one. On sort of a tangent of that, I think it is really important for the church to cross-pollinate.
Like, different cultures of the same...
Of Christians coming together in unity and sharing those differing perspectives. Yeah. One thing that stood out to me is reading the parable of the prodigal son. Yeah. In my view...
Who he wrote a book, by the way. It's available.
No, I didn't write about the prodigal son. Oh. I wrote about the rich young ruler.
I just heard son. And I was like, and I just immediately, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's funny.
This is what Bible college has taught me.
That's fine. So whenever I read that story, I would say, exposure to other cultures, it was always like, oh, that guy squandered his money. Yeah. He wasn't good with money. He was just partying it up, wild living. Yeah. Like, it took another person from another country explaining to me, you realize he only came back because there was a famine, right? I was like, there was a famine? Yeah, that's like...
It said it.
Then a famine struck the land, and he was in need. It's like, oh. Like, he was, like, partying it up. But he wasn't totally an idiot. Yeah. He was living like just by his means, but in a way that he could have sustained potentially for a long time.
And just kept going, yeah.
But it was like this huge external situation is happening in an entire region, which finally is what affects him.
Gotcha.
And causes him to return. And I was like, why haven't I thought of that? Oh, because I've never once in my life experienced the effects of a famine.
What's a famine?
But the African pastor who is explaining it
was like, that was very real.
He has experienced a famine. Yeah. So he understands there's another aspect to that. It's not just the younger son was an idiot and stupid.
And then just decided one day to return.
Yeah, the younger son wanted his separation and his personal space. Yeah. And then was forced to come back. And it's like, okay, that shades it in a slightly different light. Yeah. Of it's not only like I've come back because I've lost things. It's I've come back, I don't really have another option because there's a famine. Yeah. We're gonna starve. Yeah. But yeah, like I think it's really important for the church to cross-pollinate. Okay. And I want to be a part of that. So if I get to spend 10 years in another country and then come back and, continue in relationships with you, continue in relationships with Pastor Chuck, who I've known for a long time. Like, if I get to keep helping to spread the different ideas of like people's perspectives on the teachings of Christ and the Christian faith, like I think that will make us all better as opposed to us being in little silos. Just thinking about those few topics that are important to our little subcultures.
Gotcha.
So I think that's really important as well. You're gonna have to bring me back.
No, yeah.
I feel like I've gone off.
No, it's fine. Oh, and to sum up, I think what your answers to my question was why missions as opposed to any other career. Okay. Your answers so far have been twofold. Number one, what you just talked about was you're wanting for specifically the Christian faith to not just stay in different pockets around the world, and you going other places is allowing that growth in the place where you're going, and also back home, and then your first one was just being able to travel,
travel and experience and be changed by
it.
Yeah,
that's cool. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, there are other reasons. And I'm still trying to parse this out. I think a lot of people feel this, which is I want to do something that matters feeling.
Of course. Yeah.
And I am technically a millennial.
I know. It's so weird where we're at.
Our birth years are like right on the edge of what can be considered millennial.
I could be part of two different generations.
Yeah, so we still get Gen X. Are we in X right now?
Yeah.
Gen Z?
Gen Z, because it's Gen X,
we still get a little bit of Gen Z culture.
Yeah.
But we also feel that we want our lives to matter and be a part of something that's big and affects change. So
very big.
I definitely feel that. And I've wrestled a lot with why am I personally even needed on the missions field? Especially in a church planting respect, because a lot of groups, they're all about church planting.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel a lot of times like I wouldn't have a ton to bring that would be helpful, like right off the bat, in me being a church planter in another nation. Just because I don't know their culture. I don't know, their experiences. What about the gospel is really going to be affecting their lives? What kind of changes these groups need in a positive redemptive aspect? And then what has caused certain divisions and separations? Like, it would take me so long to get a grasp on that to where I feel like I could actually help to bring some redemption. Now, me as a like cross-pollinator, bringing different ideas,
that would be helpful.
If I can be a part of another church in another context, I could be of value in just bringing this other perspective and presence. Yeah. But as far as me trying to lead,
start it, lead it,
that, like, I was a part of a church here where some missionaries from Zambia came and started the church and led the church. Yeah. And there were some major conflicts.
Yeah.
Because
there's some culture.
Yeah, their culture is very different. Like, it is very much hierarchical and like, hey, if I'm the boss, you just do whatever I tell you to do. Yeah. No matter how much it would cost you in time or resources.
And we Americans don't like that.
We Americans are not about that. Like, you really have to work to convince us that the thing is worth it. Yeah. If it doesn't immediately benefit us. So yeah. So it fell apart. It had some pretty spectacular moments of miscommunication. Yeah. And like, after seeing that, I'm like, yeah, I would be the guy ham-fistedly trying to get stuff through that's ending up being very unhelpful. Yeah. So me being able to be a part of a church as a member who's bringing another perspective, like, I see value in that. The thing that has made me very excited about partnering with Wycliffe in particular is the fact that, through whatever efforts I'm bringing, I'm helping to leave people groups with a Bible in their own language. Yes. That's something that I feel like, that's a mission that I feel like I can really get behind. Yeah. Because it's not like me trying to tell them how to interpret the scripture. No. Because that's where I feel like a lot of the hangups and confusion and difficulty comes. It's me helping provide that resource that the local pastors and the local missionaries can use to be more effective in what they're doing.
And that seems very as you go back to what our generation really wants is like something to mean something. Yeah. You can see, oh wow, I was a part of doing this that meant something.
Yes. Yeah, that's something that I feel like would be wildly like beneficial for me to be a part of. Yeah. and like I worked at Lockheed Martin for a little while, and toward the end, I was like, if I spend my life here, the product of my energy will be building a really cool vehicle.
Really cool vehicle.
That's meant to destroy things.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the product of my life doesn't feel very positively redemptive.
Yeah.
Just in the fact that I'm building that resource that is meant to destroy. And you can make arguments, and I don't disagree with the arguments of like, we have to defend.
Oh, yeah.
And provide defense. And like, I totally get that.
But for you personally?
But for me personally, it's like, the product of my life is the thing that destroys things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want the product of, because I only get this one life.
Yeah.
And I think it matters some. But it like there's like I feel like really so little on a cosmic global scale that my life will probably affect, that it's like I want to choose this little bit that the Lord has given me wisely to invest it in a place that's going to last longer than me and be of a great benefit to others.
Yeah.
So that's why specifically JARS and Wycliffe are something that I'm excited about, as opposed to other organizations that like you're going and doing church planting and
That's very exciting.
So
thanks for sharing that. The other question that I had in mind, what specifically are you going to be doing in terms of I know that you're a mechanic.
Yeah.
I know that you've been working for a while as a plane mechanic, and I know you're also going to North Carolina first.
Yes.
And then you will presumably be sent other places.
Yes.
But
I really hope so.
Exactly. But in terms of like your day, your week, what are you? And this is more like, what are your passions? Like, what are you looking forward to doing? Number one, as your mechanic, what are you looking to like throughout the years as you're working? What are you looking to accomplish, like in terms of like grow and like what do you want to see happen at your job? And then you'll obviously have free time, and you'll have a weekend and all that stuff. What's kind of things you're looking forward to being able to do?
Okay. So, I mean, at first, like you said, we're going to North Carolina. And so what I'm looking forward to do is get to learn even more about my craft from guys who have been doing it longer than I've been alive.
As my dad would say, I got socks older than you.
Yeah, basically. Like I'm sure these guys do have work boots older than me.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to get to learn from them. I still need to learn pretty much everything about turbine engines. Like I have some theory of how they work, but I've never
no
touched
practical
one.
Experience. Yeah.
So I will be learning how to maintain turbines, and a lot of the fleets for missions aviation groups are moving heavily toward turbine engines because like the piston engines, the very specific kind of fuel you need, is readily available on the North American continent, but is not very readily available anywhere that would be considered remote. But jet fuel is, because you still have like commercial operations going into still a lot of places. So the turbine engines run on jet fuel.
Oh, okay.
So they're converting a lot over just for sustainability and logistical purposes. So I need to learn that. I still have some gaps in the like theory stuff that I've learned in my training. So I'm looking forward to learning while I'm there. And I'm looking forward to getting to travel to various bases. I should be able to go on basically like trips where, they've got a big project and not enough hands at the various missions bases to do it. We'll go over for a few weeks.
That's cool.
Help them knock it out. And that'll give me a good opportunity to see all the various bases and what the missions look like, what the teams look like. And
very cool. And by other bases, you mean outside of the United States?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yep. So that's what I'm looking forward to immediately on the work front. On the not work front, we have a baby on the way. So I am very much looking forward to getting to know my child.
Yes, all of the time.
All of the time, yes. So, those are the things I'm looking forward to in North Carolina. Once we move overseas, I'm looking forward to just doing the work and getting integrated with a community, like a local community,
getting to know people,
and we'll have to learn the language. It'll be a year of settling in. Yeah, I feel like
at least.
Yeah, at least. Once we kind of get settled, I look forward to joining like a local church.
Yeah.
And just getting to know people, building relationships. Part of the training, since I'm going to be a maintenance specialist, if any airplane is like downed, not at the main base, like I will probably be sent out to fix it and bring it back.
Oh wow! So you'll be like wherever it's broken down at.
Yeah. So like if a plane crashes,
yeah,
like we'll be sent out, fix it on the field.
Yeah.
Get it back.
That's crazy.
So I'm really looking forward to not the crash part, but just the opportunity, to go on those adventures and expeditions. Something I'm very hopeful I can make happen wherever we go. Is I've been told that a lot of times maintenance specialists, if one of the villages that JARS has a relationship with, or they have a translator in, they might send a maintenance specialist down to fix a generator or fix a motorboat. And that could potentially get me in those communities for an extended period, a couple days, and I can build relationships with people.
That'd be cool.
And like I said, bring whatever perspective I have to that community.
Yeah.
Just furthering people's understanding of the Lord. And that's something that I'm like, that's going to be a big push for me whenever I start to feel settled, is like, all right, how can I get out into these rural communities and be a resource to them?
That's very cool. Yeah, and those it's cool how my first reaction is you learning another language is going to be very cool for me to hear.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I used to be conversational in Spanish and I just haven't used it enough and I'm crap now. I don't.
But again, once you are immersed in the culture.
Oh yeah.
It would be so much easier.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
That does sound like something which, like, since I know you, that does sound very enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
Especially the part of just building relationships with people who you don't know. I could see. Again, you'll probably be taller than 99%
absolutely.
of whoever you see.
I mean, even like out on the edge of the jungle in Ecuador, I'm like ducking under doorways, and like you walk on the street, but the roof sticks out and keeps coming down, and so like I'll have to walk with the roof just not hitting my head.
You and Anne are going to be the gentle giants.
Yes, we are. That's great. Yeah, I got to be Goliath in the little skit that we did in Panama.
In Panama.
Yeah. All the kids were like, El Gigante, El Gigante. So, yeah, that was fun.
That is very funny. So, third question. Practically, what are some of the like as I'm thinking about it, how are you going to be living in North Carolina, and what kind of needs do you have in terms of, this is kind of a two-sided question.
Okay.
But what kind of needs in prayer do you have? Like leading up to, because right now you're basically in a transition phase.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be in a transition phase for the next several years.
Several years. Everything is transition.
Everything's transition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so as you're, what will it look like over the next few years as you're, again, in your words, transitioning, as you're settling into another place and then settling into another place and then eventually settling into another place? What does that look like, and what are the prayers? And I'm sure you've talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah, we've talked some.
Like prayers, but what are some specific prayers that people can have for you?
Yeah. For us to be able to maintain some steady community. Like I know you and I do phone calls all the time.
Yeah.
There's a couple other friends that I do phone calls with pretty often. but just having some steady relationships will be really important.
Yeah.
Having any of those people be reaching out to us while we're in the craze of transition and things are moving. Just anyone reaching out to be like, are you guys doing okay? Ooh. Can we pray for you guys? Yeah. All of that is huge.
That's cool.
We are going to be also transitioning into living in a fifth wheel.
Ooh.
So if anyone listening has a fifth wheel they want to get rid of or knows someone with a fifth wheel they want to sell, fifth wheel will be, that's a need.
Yeah.
And really it can be very easy when you're moving a lot to just pick whatever is easy.
Yeah.
Pick whatever feels the most comfortable and the most natural. Those things also don't usually grow you very well or integrate you into those communities very well. So when we go to North Carolina, we could just go where everyone else at JARS goes to church.
Yeah.
Or we could find a minority church.
Yeah.
An African-American church, and just start building relationship with people who are different than us, who have a different experience, who see the world a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those things are all very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And they take a lot of effort and emotional energy. Just so that
very much so.
Prayers that we would have the grace to choose those things which are less comfortable.
Yeah.
Would be tremendous.
That's actually a really good request. Yeah, because I remember, or were you?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just remember because a lot of what I studied in college was on that idea of different churches from different backgrounds joining together, and just what you're saying is it just takes more energy. Usually, the communities where you're at are the people where you don't have to have much energy to understand cultural signs or signals.
You and I could have a conversation and we know exactly what each other are meaning.
Exactly.
Whereas opposed to if me and Nico have a conversation, who's my boss, who's from Colombia.
Who's awesome, by the way.
Oh, awesome. I have to work a little harder.
Yeah, same.
Just to make sure we're on the same page. Yeah. Even though we might be using the same words, the ideas in our heads are still different. Yeah. Just because we come from these different backgrounds.
But it sounds like that's an overall theme in what you are wanting to accomplish with your life.
Yes, it is. I want to be pushed. I want to grow. So I had this experience when I was learning Spanish.
Yeah.
I was sent to Ecuador.
Yeah.
The guy I was living with was like, I'm not talking to you in English. You have to learn Spanish while you're here.
That's so
good.
And
after 3 weeks, I mentally craved anything to be said in English.
Wow.
Like one who is hungry.
Yeah.
Or needs to go to the bathroom. Like my body was physically craving something to be said in English.
Yeah.
And it was a week after that I saw the biggest breakthrough in my learning.
Gotcha.
Because it's almost like my mind was so fatigued.
Yeah.
That it just started intaking. I can't explain it
so
other than it just felt like you get fatigued, and then you hit this point that's maybe like a runner's high. I've never experienced a runner's high.
It's very nice, by the way.
I know that you have, but you have to go 8 miles before you experience
at least I did.
The runner's high.
Yeah.
And you're cramping before that.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is boring.
This is the
and
worst
you've got
thing
the
ever.
mental game.
Yeah.
But it's just after that point that you see the most development.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that we would have the grace to reach that point in the midst of the craziness, and the grace that my wife and I would just be very patient with each other, intentional in communication, intentional in our relationship.
Yeah.
Because it can also be easy whenever you're going to a new place to say yes to all the things.
Yeah.
And not have that positive view of, this is what I want to be developing in me and in us.
Yeah.
And this is what I think the Lord is leading us to. So
that's cool.
Just a lot of intentionality is what I would like prayer for.
Okay, cool. And final question, as you were just talking about your wife and intentionality, what do you want to see I know you are having a baby soon.
Yes.
And what do you want to see in terms of this life which you've chosen, how do you want to see it grow, both Anna and your relationship with her, and how do you want to see your child or children? What do you want this experience to be like for them?
Yeah, so I mean, my dad took me to a lot of countries when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really gave me broader perspective than I think I would have having not gone on those trips.
Yeah.
So, like for my kids, I want them to feel like they are like people of the world.
Ooh.
Like
that's actually very cool.
Feel the ability to go anywhere.
Yeah.
To try new things, to be people of action, to see like really the systems of the world in, somewhat the positive ways, but also like the world is not always looking out for people.
Yeah.
It's usually looking out for itself or the people that are
trying to protect what it
power.
has.
Yeah. And I want them to see, oh, this is what people go through. And to just for them to have a compassion for people, a desire to see just their lives bettered.
Yeah.
And I want them to love adventure. Or at least be comfortable with those adventures and unknowns.
Yeah.
So that's something that I want for my kids. For myself, I want to get wiser.
Yeah.
I want to be the gray hair guy that can advise people legitimately later in life.
Yeah.
I
know you can't see me, but I'm smiling very big right now because I'm just imagining Philip with some old gray beard.
Yeah.
Like,
I would like to have any beard, but that's my German blood. Yes. I can't really grow facial hair.
Grow it. I'm cursed too. Don't worry.
But yeah, I want to grow in wisdom and grow in my relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
And I want to help further the church.
Yeah.
Help get the church in any way possible out of some of the ruts that it gets stuck in.
Yeah.
And like I want to feel like I can accomplish stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, even like my car today, I just like, it wouldn't start. It's got a battery problem. I throw up my hands. I'm like, whatever, I need a mechanic. And then I take it to Juan.
Yeah.
And Juan's like, Philip, you just told me all the problems and what the problem is. Like, you can fix it. Like, go do it. It's like, okay.
I love Juan, but he said it. I know he said it in like a nice way.
Oh yeah. He was good.
Yeah.
But like, I still need that. Like,
yeah.
Like, you can go in and do this.
Yeah.
Like, and not in just like an arrogant, I can do it all on my own way, but in a, like, nothing's out of reach. Mixed with a positive view of like, how do we keep furthering the world toward the redemptive purposes that God has for the world?
Yeah.
So for Anna, she hasn't gotten to travel much.
Ooh.
And I know wherever we go, she is going to be a hit with whoever in the community. And I want her to get that confidence of like, oh, I can connect with people that are different than me.
Yes. Yeah.
And it will be fun. and like, maybe I can integrate into new and weird situations.
That's cool.
But also like, she has such a skill set to do therapy with kids.
Yeah.
That any kid she works with, she's going to help make them better.
Yes.
She's going to help their lives in a tangible way, help them overcome something. And like, I'm excited to get to see her be a mom.
That's cool.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you'll hear more about Anna in part 2.
Yes, which is coming up, well, in a week. But, just coming up soon, that'll be the next thing you guys hear. So. Thank you very much, Nathan, for doing this with us.
I'm so glad to be able to learn about everything and all that you... it's so exciting for me to hear, number one, the intentionality behind it. But number two, not just the intentionality, but just the passion and dreams inside of you. That's what I really get to value and it's so cool to hear you talk about.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. All right, well, thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye. So, before, I know I just said bye, but I'm back. And Anna and I wanted to take a second, since it's November, Thanksgiving time, to just give a huge thank you to each and every one of you who are listening.
Yes, because you're listening, your investment in our story, it means so much. So we wanted to say thank you for praying for us, for taking an interest in how God is moving in our lives, and for just kind of being a part of the story. We really appreciate you, and we are very, very thankful for you. So please receive this as our Thanksgiving gratitude as we close out this episode.
And we hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving, time with family, time coming together, and happy holidays.
We love you guys.
See ya.